Hello again. So I am trying another iPhone video, see how that works. This is my latest clock. It's nearly finished, but I'm just showing you how I put the last pieces together so you know where to go with yours if you try it. This I call my wood piece clock. It's not really wood, it looks a bit like wooden fretwork. But what I've done is I've used a wood grain paper or cardstock on the outside, and the layers are craft on the inside, and it does look quite like a wooden clock. And this one has a different kind of roof too. It looks like this, and I've covered that with a wood paper as well. It's lined with another piece of craft cardstock. So to start with, I'll tell you what I used to make it. The craft cardstock is just Recollections, £65, and I find that Recollections from Michael's is not only inexpensive, but it cuts really well and it's nice and smooth. And the same with the brown that I've used and various other pieces. The wood grain cardstock, unless you're in Britain, you won't be able to get it. But if you are in Britain, you might be interested to know. This was just £3 from The Works, the shop in Britain. It has some very nice double-sided wood grain papers that I really liked, and 24 double-sided, good quality, good weight cardstock. So that's what I used for that. So we're getting to the point now where we're putting the last pieces together. These clocks I'm now putting chipboard on the top and bottom. I think it gives it a nice strong weight to the clock. But I'm putting a fretted piece, as I call it, as the middle shelf, and I'm just going to show you how I've been sticking these together today. I didn't do my usual spraying with Elmer's craft spray for this one, because this was a simpler design and smaller pieces. I decided I was going to stick it with this, my art glitter glue, although I could just as easily have used this. This is pretty good too, but I do like the fine tip on the art glitter, although you can put the same fine tip on the Aleene's if you want. So what I did for these, I just put a thin amount of glue around the sides like this, making sure I'm going right close to the edges, and then every cross point, or whatever you'd like to call them, on the pattern I put a dab of glue, and I found that this held this together very efficiently. It didn't really need any more glue than this, making sure I've got it on every intersection, as it were, and a little dab here and there just to make sure it's all well covered. I think I've got everything, and then I just make sure the corners and sides line up properly, and just press it together and flatten it down like that, and that makes a nice firm piece of construction that I'm now going to put inside the clock as a shelf. I've already put the construction strips, which look like these, on the inside of the clock in the places where the shelf is going to go. Although they're very slim, when they're on the inside, and now I'm putting them on the outside as well, I'll tell you about that in a moment, it actually still makes a very strong construction. They need to be narrow so that they don't show through the fretted pattern. So I'm going to stick this one in here. So I'm going to put glue on each of those on the shelf there. See if you can see. I'll put it on first and then I don't know whether these videos come out as well as the ones on my camera, but they certainly look quicker, so I'm more inclined to do them a bit more often. And I think you can see I put a line of glue. I've got this way up on the shelf so that the shelf rests on them, and there's a line of glue in there, and I'm just going to put that in there, slide it in and push it into place on those supports, making sure that it sticks. Let me see if I can show you. Making sure that it sticks. It's going to come over a little bit. And those. Making sure that it goes right to the back so that the door closes, which actually mine looks a little large, so I'm just going to trim a little tiny bit off. Sometimes you might find that when you put things together you might need to trim it down just a little bit. I've got these Tim Holtz scissors which are very good for cutting several layers of cardstock. I'm just cutting a tiny slice off the front of this piece here, so that the door closed. It isn't the door actually, it's the side of the clock. Closes over that. Let's try again. And that looks like it will fit. Okay, it's a bit hard to show you, but it's got to be flush with the front wall and resting on those supports, little construction strips on the inside. So now, and I think that's in place, okay, looking inside. Sometimes you need to put both hands inside. You can't see what I'm doing, but I'm just pressing all along the edge of the shelves, making sure that all those are stuck together along every side. And you can see. So finally, there's one more to be stuck down. I'm looking for it and I can't see it. I'll have to use this one. And this one needs to be pushed here so that we can join this shelf to the rest of it. And here we go. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to tell you, but before I put them on, I cut the ends of my construction strips like this. Like that. And then they'll fit together better in the corners. So let's stick this one. And you're going to have to push it down so that it goes between the edge of that shelf, which is still not firmly glued. Or you could make a little cut in the middle and that will stick. I'm still not happy with my shelf. I need to remove him a minute. I think he's making the sides bow out a bit. And he says, so I don't do everything perfect the first time either. I will adjust the pattern for you slightly when I go back to it before I give you the... I'm going to cut a bit off the side as well, because I think it's making the side bow out. So, some more glue. This time I'm going to put it on here. Rather than on the strips, because I can see where it went before. And put it back in place. Doing the same as I did before, pushing the pieces together, using both hands inside. It would be good if I put it the right way up, just to show you that not everything I do is always perfect either. I only show you the finished products where I've put them right after I've made those kind of errors. Anyway, back to this. Those construction strips are very gluey now and sticky. I've been messing around with them, but they will dry and it will be firmly in place this time, fingers crossed. It's better. Yes, that's looking better. And inside shelf is the fiddliest of all of them. It's a bit like clock hands, they're fiddly too. So now I have construction strips on everything. I've got one on the door here that's going to go underneath this shelf here. I've got one down here. I've got one across here. Oh, I should have one across there. Let's put one on now while we wait. And I'm going to stick this cut corners off, ends off. And I'm going to stick this last side to the clock. So there needs to be one there as well. Now I'm going to put glue all around here. Here. And on the top of that one. And I'm going to push that underneath the shelf and that bit on the top. And making sure everything is square on the corners. I'm going to hold that in place for a little while I wait for it to dry. So what can I tell you about it while we're waiting? Well, on the front, that peace sign you see here, when you go to the pattern you'll find that it's shown there both as a cut and print piece and a cut out piece. That's because I didn't want to cut out all these little letters that say piece along the front, but I rather liked the dimensional look to it, so I printed it out first and I added some of the dimensional bits on top afterwards and put the brown layers behind it as well to give it a bit of dimension. So really the only piece that isn't cutting out is this banner with peace on it. The rest of it is layered up on top